I don't know how I can communicate with you because of my strange accent. See, I'm very Indian and I'm not well versed with this strange language, English. I born and brought up in the southern tip of India, near Kanyakumari. My mother tongue is Malayalam, and I learned Tamil. Then I am writing in Tamil and Malayalam. So English is a very strange language to me. So I will try to communicate myself by using words very, very slowly, right? Okay. Then only you can follow me. The first thing is the modern writing in Tamil. It has its own course, and we have a lot of major artistic works in Tamil. But we are not popular among other Indians, and we are not known to the world till now. See, this is the first book ever translated and published in USA from our language. This is the first book. And I dare to say this is the simplest book written by me. It's a very, very plain and direct collection of short stories. The stories are very plain and direct and emotional. I wrote a lot of works with more complexities, historical references, cultural nuances, and all other emotional, spiritual things in the novels. So the theme of my talk here is the unsung India. That means the unknown India. There are a lot of Indian writers very popular in US, particularly Salman Rushdie. Recently, I wrote an article about Salman Rushdie, Jumba Lahiri, and you may Bharati Mukherjee. A lot of Indian writers are very popular here in USA. But frankly, they are not representing India. So how can I say that? Say, I can say a funny statement that if a person can pronounce English perfectly, he is not representing India. Because, see, so if a person can talk English very well, he can pronounce English very well, he cannot communicate with Indian people. He belongs to a upper class of India. He is the residue of the colonial rule. He is a person belong the class created by the colonial Europeans. He cannot understand India. He belongs to a upper class, upper caste person. So he cannot understand India. He cannot write the inner truth of India. That's a major problem with India. Even now, I would like to say one thing. India is still ruled by these kind of persons. If a person wants to become a powerful, or become an officer, or become an intellectual, he must know English very well. But through learning English, he become alienated from the mass of India, and slowly he become a particular class, a ruling class. This problem is not only in India, but the same problem is prevailing in South Africa and almost all African countries. A person who is well versed in any European language is an alien in his own land. And he is very popular among the Europeans because of his language. So if a person wants to understand India, if an American person wants to understand India, he has to learn the real India to the real others who are not popular among the European diaspora. That's the major challenge on understanding third world countries, particularly Asian countries and African countries. For example, I used to read a lot in English. See, there are two authors. I would refer two authors. One is Chinua Achebe. You may have heard about him. Things Fall Apart. Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe is an American-born African writer. He is considered as a representative of African literature here. But his works never represents the African reality. I used to travel in Africa and I know Africa more than any Western person. But Ben Okri belongs to that land. He is the perfect representation of African reality. Or, see, Chimamanda Adichie is an American writer. She is writing about Nigeria, but she is not representing Nigeria. She is creating the reality that created by the Europeans, for the Europeans, and she is representing it. But you have to go to Nigeria to find the real author there, who is writing for the other Nigerian people. Then only you can understand Nigeria. A person writing about Nigeria and living in USA is not a Nigerian writer. That's the difference. So what makes the difference? That's the question I am raising here. Because I'm talking this, I won't talk this in the college. I won't talk this in a public meeting.
Right.
I am talking to you because you all are writers. So what is the inner truth? The Indian thought is actually, the modern Indian thought is actually designed and controlled by the colonial thinkers and philosophers. The colonial thinkers and philosophers and scholars, they collected the Indian text as one intellectual load, a collection of books. They gave meaning to that text. They interpreted the text. Slowly, over 200 years, they created an intelligentsia in India. And European is already well versed about this part of Indian intelligentsia. An American can easily understand a Western author who wrote about India. And Indian authors used to imitate that Western authors. For example, Rushdie is actually imitating E.M. Forster. E.M. Forster is a Western person, lived in India, and he wrote about India. Almost every Indian English author is actually practically imitating Western authors who wrote about India. E.M. Forster. And a lot of writers are there. So that's the problem with Indian writing. This kind of writing, well, if two books are presented before you, one is this Stories of the Truth, and another one is about Midnight Children by Salman Rushdie. A Western reader naturally select Salman Rushdie's books because it is easy to understand. Its technical terms are very comfortable to pronounce. A little ago, Mr. Stephen was struggling to pronounce my name. So if you cannot pronounce a name, you cannot remember it.
That's right.
So they used to change the names to pronounce easily. Then only you can remember the name. Then only you can read the fiction. That's a very easy way to write. Changing the names, changing the African names, changing the Asian names, according to the pronunciation system of the English. But this kind of writing is actually not representing the people there. There are millions of people living in that country. They should be heard. They should have some voice in the center of the world. Anyway, Europe is the center of the world. America is the center of the world. We must have some place here. So if you are correcting and changing our realities according to your taste, and you are understanding that reality is as In reality, we are betrayed. We have, till now, India has absolutely no role in the intelligentsia of the world. A very well-versed literary reader here in the US who used to read at least 100 books in a year reads a lot about India, but he absolutely don't know anything about India. That's what is going on. I cannot give this book to a major literary critic here. He cannot understand the book because it has a lot of cultural and other details here. So, for example, I want to say one thing, one example, because you are good writers. See, one of my stories, Colonial, is published at Grantha Literary Magazine this month. This month, Grantha Literary Magazine published one of my stories. It is about a sacrifice of a person. The story is happening in 19th century. The major cultural element of the story is about the matriarchal society in Kerala, in a place. About the matriarchal society. You can understand what is a matriarchal society. The entire wealth belongs to women. Women are the center of the society. That is a matriarchal society. I belongs to a matriarchal society. The editor of Grantha asked me to edit out these matriarchal details from the story. He says, see, you are writing about matriarchal society of India, and our readers can't understand the matriarchal society. Our readers cannot follow the details of a matriarchal society. So why can't we edit it out? Why can't we change the story? That's the question. I said, no. If you are not interested, you need not publish my story. I won't change it because we are matriarchal. We have to be here. We are still living here. So why you are editing our culture? You are not editing my story. You are editing my culture. I underlined it. And after a discussion for 1 month, they decided to publish the story. You can read the story. Karuman at Grantha online. Grantha, Grantha. Karuman. The story is published in the same name. Karuman.
Grantha. Grantha.
Literary magazine.
I think it comes from UK. London magazine.
Yes. It's a major literary magazine from UK. It's a very important literary magazine. So, actually, the editors of Western publications are actually trying to edit Indian culture, not Indian text. They want to edit the names of Indians. They want to edit the cultural details of Indians. They want to edit the history of Indians. They say then only the book will be a blockbuster here. Arundhati Roy's book is a blockbuster in UK because it is not an Indian work. The perception of the heroine of the novel is essentially Western. There are a lot of techniques for writing these kind of works. First thing, the heroine or the hero should have a Western mind. Either he should return from USA to India. That's a natural thing. A person studying something in the USA and he is returning to India, and you have to write a novel in his perception. That novel will be a successful one in UK or in the USA. Or a Western educated man should be the hero. Or a Western educated woman should be the hero. A common Indian, average Indian could not be the hero of a novel for the Western readers. This is the major problem with us. So we are actually fighting against this tendency. It's a neo-colonialism. It's a colonialism in the thought. We are fighting against the colonialism in our heads. My works are not translated till my age of 60. I wrote nearly 320 books in Tamil.
Jesus.
All these books are very, very popular in my language. I can proudly say that I am the one who designed the modern Tamil thought. But not only one work is translated into English till my age of 60 because it's tough to translate into English. Then I found my translators. Do you know who are the translators of my works? They born and brought up in USA and UK. And they are bored with the standard translations of Indian text. My translators are women, particularly girls. They are bored with Salma Rushdie and Arundhati Roy. And they found me. And they began to translate my works. So after they arrive in the scene, my works are present in English. So the unsung India is the unknown India to the West. West is using East as a mirror to itself in that mirror. You are not looking India. You are actually looking your impression on India. You are actually looking yourself on the mirror. Continuously, I am narrating this to my editors also. I used to tell my editors, don't try to edit my text. You can improve the language, you can improve the texture of the novel or anything. But you cannot edit or change the cultural nuances of the text because the text is actually based on the cultural nuances. And two other things are there. One is the cultural editing, and another one is the thought editing. See, for example, the liberal ideas of the West and the leftist ideas, I mean the Marxist ideas of the West, particularly from Europe. These ideas are actually very popular among us in India. Yes, these ideas are very progressive and we are actually believing in these ideas and we are fighting for these ideas. Okay, fine. But my mother won't believe that ideas. She has her own ideas. My mothers, they are very old grand ladies. They have a great tradition of their life. They have a tradition of thought in their mind. They won't believe, they won't talk in that language. Recently, a very popular Indian work, I mean Indian English work. In it, a 90 years old village lady is talking about feminism and all the feminist ideas. So these feminist ideas are cultivated in the Europe and they are migrated, they are exported to India. So an educated woman can talk about feminism, but not my mother won't talk about feminism. That means she is not that does not mean that she is a slave or she is a slave to man. She is a matriarch. She is a very, very independent woman, but she don't know anything about feminism. That's the difference. So these ideas. So if I want to be a successful Indian author in the US, I have to write with minimum cultural details, without much historical reference, reflecting the common popular ideas of the US in my text. Then I will be a popular writer here. My question is, why should I be popular in US? I am getting money from writing movies. So the entire American press cannot reimburse my money in the movie. I am already getting a lot of money from writing. So I don't want money. And being popular in the US is not my agenda. Being popular in the US is actually a myth. You can be popular for only 10 years in Europe. So last day I was searching David Foster Wallace, my favorite US author. I was searching for his books in Barnes and Noble store. Not even a single copy of his book is available in the store. I imagine him as a great European icon, great US icon, but his books are not there in the store. And I asked for that book, and they said he's an old author. He died only in 2005. He's not an old author, but the salesman there in the bookshop says he's an old author. So I used to read a lot of thrillers and commercial works in a young age. Not a single author is available in the bookshop today. Frederick Forsyth, Irving Wallace, Harold Robbins. They are the very popular writers of their time, you know. Frederick Forsyth. I don't know whether I am pronouncing correctly. Forsyth, Irving Wallace, a lot of writers, Leon Uris. All the others are simply disappeared from the bookshelves now. They are not. They are present in any bookshop now. They are disappeared from the shelves. So being popular in US is a myth. You can be popular for 1 year or 2 years. At the maximum, you can be popular for 10 years. So it's not a subject for me. So I don't want to be a popular Indian author here. I want to represent the real India here. That's why I'm very keen to be original, not popular. So I recommend my book, Stories of the Truth.
So we are thinking about it.
This is not a very easy book. Yeah, it is a very easy book in Tamil, but not very easy book in English because it has a lot of cultural nuances. It actually represents our real life in India, about our mothers, about our poor people, about our villages, our culture and everything. So a Western reader should be more careful to understand the text. You have to invest more time and patience to study this text. So the question you may ask the question, why should I pay an attention to read this book? Why should a Western man pay attention and time to read a book like this? The answer is, sir, I spend a lot of time to read your books. Say, it took 1 year for me. It took 1 year to understand Herman Melville's Moby Dick. I cannot understand any line, but I used encyclopedia to understand the text. I was reading and rereading that text. I have a lot of problems to read a proper American text. I almost repulsed while I am reading Color Purple. Then I paid my attention. I worked on it. And I even to translate that word to understand it perfectly. So I paid all interest to understand your text. So can you pay some interest to read my text? So I am reading African text. With a lot of attempt and a lot of lab. In fact, I was traveling to Africa to understand African novels. So I am expecting that kind of patience and attention from a Western, an American reader. And I think it is a privilege to me. Thank you.